How do men find meaning in a world that seems void of all the things that we were told would come our way when we do the right things and we work hard and this, that, and the third? Me personally speaking, I think the perspective of having a family, a wife, and kids, and thinking that's what it means to be a man, I think that's a little misnomer. If anyone knows anything about agriculture, just any, human history, since the invention of agriculture and staying in place and cultivating food and families and things of that nature, monogamy, or just the ideal or the nuclear family structure, was something that we kind of put together. The nuclear family, this isn't me saying that the nuclear family isn't good. Of course I support it. The nuclear family is a utility for greater society, not for men as individuals. Unfortunately, what we're seeing in today's society is not only the degradation of the nuclear family, but also just the degradation of everything a man would want to work for or to obtain in this life to make his life seem worth living. As I get older, I'm turning 31 this year, and as I get older, I kind of realize, maybe having a family isn't the thing that's going to give me meaning or purpose, or maybe, having children is not the thing that's going to give me purpose. The ultimate question then becomes, what is? I can tell you what it's not. It's definitely not overconsumption of sex, drugs, and alcohol, or any sort of cheap dopamine that you think it might be. Because there are a lot of guys that are older than me that may not have families, they may not have children, but they have a career and things of that nature, and they blow their money on the dopamine and on the cheap thrills that this life has to offer. And I just think that's a misnomer. I'm not saying having a nuclear family is wrong and becoming the archetypical guy is wrong, but I'm also saying that, at least in my opinion, that's not it. So I have three things, or just three ideas to me, that feels as though these are the things that are worth living for. So the first one is going to be community. And I don't mean community as in, you are the leader of a large family or whatever the case may be, but you play a role in your community, like the immediate community outside of your door. Once you step out there, what kind of role do you play? Are you the type of guy that gives the younger generation leadership and direction? Are you the type that helps people through services, perhaps plumbing, electrician, things of that nature? Those kind of things, I think, are the ideals that a man would want to pursue in order to feel as though he's giving his life meaning. The second one I would say is exploration. There's a lot of us guys, because we're single, we don't have children, and we live by ourselves, we have the opportunity to go out and explore. And when I say explore, I don't mean go to DR and go to all these other islands because you want to get your rocks off. I mean literally explore. For me, I love human history. And I think, this is a total side note, by the way, but I think the Atlantic slave trade has probably been one of the most interesting social experiments any human civilization has ever conducted, ever. Obviously, the Atlantic slave trade didn't come about through experimentation, I wonder what happens if X, Y, and Z. I'm just saying in general. But learning about that kind of stuff, and more importantly, going to the places where these things have happened, right? So I went to Jamaica. I learned a lot about the slave trade in Jamaica. It was an incredible experience, seeing the island, learned a lot. And on top of that, it made me very thankful for my life too. I remember I was on an ATV. Here I am going down this mud path on this ATV in Jamaica. And while I'm going down the ATV path, I look over towards my left, and I see a bunch of little kids just playing in a steel hut, literally a steel hut. And it put a lot of things in perspective for me, because I was, you're an American, so you kind of have this silver spoon per se kind of personality where you think you're entitled to a lot of things. But the reality of it is, in this life, you have to work for everything, and life ultimately owes you nothing. And the same thing goes for finding meaning. Ultimately, there is no meaning to life. At the end of it all, and I think I said this last week, but we're reptiles. We just have these instinctual habits within us, and a big part of our drive is procreation. Without procreation, really, what is the point of us being here? There isn't really any. So for us, it's a matter of finding the things that give us meaning. Listen, if at the end of the day you find drugs, alcohol, and cheap thrills to be the thing that gives your life meaning, you feel you're a hedonist at heart, okay, man, go for it. Go for it. What else can I say? The only thing I would say is, a lot of the times those kind of those ideals or those fantasies just leave you feeling dry and vapid and searching for more anyway. So I don't really think those are the things that you'd want when at your deathbed you could think back and say, okay, I'm so glad I did those things. That's not really it. The third thing, I think men will find the most meaning in being creatives, creating something for the greater good of society. It could be for the greater good. It doesn't necessarily have to have a moral standpoint to your invention or creation, but just creating something that society can resonate with, the people around you can resonate with, you can resonate with. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've made paintings that helped me, like when my brother passed away. My brother Jerry passed away back in 2019, right before COVID. So I spent those last 2 years making paintings and making works of art. I sold a couple, by the way. Also, if you ever want a painting on commission, feel free to just, you know, leave me a comment or find me on Instagram and send me a DM and I got you. Creating and making art was definitely something that helped me. And I think as men, listen, this isn't me trying to be sexist, but you know, men, we have the propensity to be the greatest inventors. I mean, a lot of the greatest inventions came from men, right? So you don't need to be a wizard in order to create something, but create something that you feel society could benefit from, or something you could benefit from and society benefits by proxy. All I'm saying is spending time wondering what life is or if there's actual meaning to it will not inherently give you meaning to your own life. You'll just spend more time thinking as to why you cannot have the life that you think you deserve or think you want. Meanwhile, without taking the time to actually do some self-reflection and figure out, okay, to me, what gives my life meaning, you'll forever be stuck in that perpetual cycle of just thinking to yourself, well, how come I don't have X, Y, and Z? How come my life didn't turn out the way it did? And that was a big part of my upbringing. You know, when I was growing up, from like, I don't know, I guess from like 17 to 22, right after my first brother passed away. Yes, both my brothers died. I know, life is f***ed up. But yeah, you know, ever since losing both my brothers, once I was 17, I always thought to myself, like, you know, what the f*** is the point of life if you're just born to die? But the point of life is to experience it before you die. So go try shit. Go do some shit. Go build some shit. Go write some shit. Write a book. Make a painting. Go out. But the last thing you should be doing is wondering why these women don't like you, or wondering why your life isn't like the next guy's. Figure out what your life is supposed to be. Maximize that time, and I promise you, you'll have a much better time here. I know, life fucking sucks. Trust me, I've had that thought plenty of times. You know, you lose 2 brothers, you almost delete yourself. You're gonna think life sucks, but I'm telling you, once you get into the habit of creating, you start doing things that you feel gives your life meaning, and then you reassess. You think from there, okay, I did X, Y, and Z. How did I feel from that? What feeling did that give me? Was that something that I want to do again? Is this something I can do for others during, you know, like the long haul? X, Y, and Z. The sooner you realize that life is solely up to you and your creation, the better your life will be. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, we've got a self-development program coming soon, probably around the middle of the spring to the summertime. It has nothing to do with women whatsoever. There will be a small course going over like social dynamics, but it has nothing to do with women. It's mainly about you just becoming the best version of yourself for yourself, because you owe you. So if that's something you might be interested in, stick around. It'll be coming out pretty soon. Like I said, I'll have an email inbox where you could drop your email for some freebies as well. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to take a look at the other videos that I got here. Oh shit. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.